The story is about Zev, who is a survivor, who is trying to hunt down the person he thinks is responsible for killing his family. And he goes on this extraordinary journey, but he's also suffering from dementia, so he often forgets why he's on this journey. He often finds himself in a hotel room with a gun, with a set of instructions, and it's this extraordinary exploration of memory and trauma. And it's a very emotional journey that Christopher Plummer and Martin Landau and Dean Norris have provided us with, and we're thrilled about what happens tonight in Toronto. This is my hometown. Robert the Lantosh is the producer, his hometown, and we're just like talking about like whether or not it's going to be the same emotional pitch as we had 2 nights ago in Venice, which was just like actually one of the best reactions we've ever had for a film we've made together. We've made a number of films together.
I had 2 reactions. The first was, this film needs to be made and I should make it. The second was, I can't only think of one guy who can play the leading role, and if he doesn't do it, there is no film. And that's how the film got made. I sent it to Mr. Plummer, and he said yes.
I absolutely was knocked over by the script because it was written by a very young man. I think it's his first screenplay. And it was we actually shot the script that existed when we first read it. There were no 50 drafts or anything like that. It was an immediate reaction I had, and I'd never done anything like it before in my life, that kind of role. So I was thrilled that Robert had thought of me, and I said yes immediately.
I got the script and I read it and loved it. When I heard Christopher was doing it and Adam was directing it, I worked with Adam 28 years ago when he was a baby, and we had a great time then in Toronto. And my character, it's an interesting character because I'm playing 2 characters at once. I mean, my character at the beginning of the movie knows the end of the movie. He's the only person in the world who does. There's an interesting subtlety to it, and working with Christopher was great because he even came in on days that he wasn't on call, so we could talk on the telephone together.
It was rather daunting to show up with these 2 legends, and but the first day I got on set, Mr. Plummer couldn't have been kinder and nicer, and it was. I can't tell you how fantastic it was to work with Mr. Plummer, and it was great. It was great, and we have a very interesting scene that includes some pretty intense moments. And I think there was a moment where we had planned it for the possibility that he might not be there for some of that because it gets a little physical, and he would have none of it.
Oh, that was crazy. That
was awesome. Right?
There was a very physical moment in the scene, and we had a stunt person there because I wanted it to be very physical. When Chris found out, he wanted nothing of that. Actually, you got very upset because he wanted to do the stunt himself.
Well, the stunt man was about 90, and I offered to do it because I felt so sorry for him.
I think, I just enjoyed making this film because I was working with these amazing actors and people I adored. And, I get, to me, what makes a film work is when the director is very excited to have these performances. That makes it very pleasurable.
I think Adam did a great job in the sense that there were actors, for instance, German actors who came here from Hamburg for 1 day's work. And it takes a while to assimilate and get used to things. And I did something with him that I would never do with anyone, including Hitchcock or Coppola, which was give him 5 variations on every scene when he said, let's do it again, and I did it differently. Because I felt in the editing room, the balance could be affected by the choices he made, and I trusted him incredibly.
To me, the greatest memory I will ever have of Remember, in addition to working with a very old friend with whom we've now made 8 films together, is this extraordinary cast that is, it brings alive and puts flesh and bones and blood and sweat on something that is just words on paper when I start.
Did you enjoy making the film? Yeah, and I did. And I think we all do. It doesn't matter how dark the subject. I mean, I love playing King Lear. Right. That can be pretty depressing, some of it. But the fact that it's so gorgeously written, you have enormous fun accepting the challenge. The same thing with this movie. It's terribly dark. I mean, unbelievably dark. But it was so well constructed and so well directed that it was a joy to do.
Absolutely. And both of these guys on either of my sides are so wonderful in this film. I mean, you know, you see a lot of stuff that's, you know, puts you to sleep. These fellas don't.